Imagine a life spent in the skies and not just hours, not just days, but months without touching the ground. This is not the story of a mythical creature or a legend passed down through generations. This is the real, astonishing life of the common swift, a bird so perfectly adapted to the air that it spends almost its entire existence flying. In 2016, researchers at Lund University in Sweden uncovered one of the most mind-blowing secrets in the natural world. By attaching tiny tracking devices to a group of swifts, they discovered that these birds can remain airborne for 10 straight months. That means they eat, sleep, and even rest their wings, all while in flight. But how is this possible? How can a creature so small achieve a feat that seems impossible, even for advanced human technology? To answer that, we must journey deep into the life of the common swift, exploring its evolutionary secrets, its extraordinary abilities, and the incredible scientific mission that revealed its skybound lifestyle. This is the story of nature's most tireless traveler. The common swift is a bird of paradoxes. At first glance, it looks almost ordinary. With its slender body, long side-shaped wings, and forked tail, it resembles many other small birds that dart across the summer skies. Yet behind this simple appearance lies a secret. The swift is one of the most extreme aviators on Earth. Unlike most birds, swifts are born for the air. From the moment young swifts leave the nest, they enter a life where the sky itself becomes home. They rarely perch, seldom rest on trees, and almost never touch the ground. For them, to land is not a necessity, it is a risk. Their tiny feet are adapted only for clinging to vertical walls or cliffs, not for walking. On flat surfaces, they are awkward, even helpless. But in the air, they are transformed into perfect flying machines with wings spanning up to 44 centimeters, a body streamlined like an arrow, and feathers shaped for precision gliding. The common swift is designed for endless flight. Scientists estimate that in its lifetime, a single swift may travel the equivalent of 5 round trips to the moon and back. What makes this possible? The key lies in their energy efficiency. Swifts use a combination of rapid wing beats and effortless gliding, allowing them to conserve energy while covering astonishing distances. Even more incredible, they can sleep while flying. Using a technique called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, one half of the brain rests while the other stays alert, enabling the bird to stay airborne without crashing. This adaptation is nothing short of miraculous. Humans rely on machines, fuel, and complex systems to remain in the air. Swifts, on the other hand, are powered only by biology, their own muscles, feathers, and an evolutionary design perfected over millions of years. But how did scientists uncover the truth about the swift's nonstop flight? For decades, ornithologists suspected that swifts might spend most of their lives aloft, but proving it was nearly impossible. Tracking such a small, fast-moving bird over long periods required technology that didn't exist until recently. The breakthrough came with tiny, lightweight data loggers, no heavier than a paperclip. These devices, attached to the backs of several swifts, recorded every movement, every ascent, every glide. And when the birds were recaptured months later, the data stunned the scientific world. Swifts could indeed remain airborne for up to 10 months straight, making them the longest flying animals on Earth. This discovery reshaped our understanding of what life can mean. For the common swift, the ground is not home. The sky is. Every year, as summer fades from Europe and the days grow shorter, a silent drama begins in the skies. The common swift, restless and driven by instinct older than civilization itself, takes to the air for its annual migration. From the rooftops of Stockholm, the church towers of Prague, and the stone walls of old London, flocks of swifts rise into the fading light. With a single purpose, they head southward, bound for the warm, insect-rich skies of Africa. This journey is not a casual flight. It is a marathon of survival, covering thousands of kilometers across seas, deserts, and mountains. Unlike most migratory birds, which rest along the way, the swift keeps flying day after day, night after night. Incredibly, some swifts may spend 10 consecutive months in the air, gliding across continents without ever touching the earth below. The route is astonishing in its scope. From northern Europe, swifts cross the Mediterranean, navigating by the stars, the Earth's magnetic field, and subtle cues in the wind. They fly over the vast and hostile Sahara Desert, where there is no water, no food, and no rest. Yet for the swift, this is no obstacle. It simply continues, wings cutting through hot desert air, fueled by tiny insects carried aloft by thermal currents. Finally, after weeks of continuous flight, the birds arrive in sub-Saharan Africa, where the rains bring life to the land. Here, in the forests and savannas, the air is thick with insects, the swift's only food source. They spend the winter months in this bounty, circling high above the trees, feeding constantly, rarely landing, if at all. But the migration is not just about survival. It is also about timing. Swifts must return north at precisely the right moment to breed. Arrive too early, and the air will be cold, the insects scarce. Arrive too late, and the best nesting sites will be gone. For the swifts, timing is everything, and their precision is remarkable. Year after year, they make this epic round trip, covering tens of thousands of kilometers. Over a lifetime, a single swift may travel more than 4 million kilometers, a distance equal to circling the Earth 100 times. What drives them to endure such endless journeys? The answer lies in evolution. By living in the air, swifts escape many of the dangers that threaten ground-dwelling birds, predators, diseases, and scarcity of food. The open sky is both their shield and their kingdom. In this way, the common swift has become a symbol of freedom and endurance, a reminder that nature often hides its greatest marvels in the smallest of creatures. For centuries, the common swift has captured the imagination of humankind. In medieval Europe, people believed swifts were not birds at all but spirits of the air, too ethereal to belong to the earth. Their mysterious disappearance at the end of summer puzzled early naturalists. Some thought they sank into lakes or buried themselves in mud during winter, much like frogs. The truth, that they traveled thousands of kilometers to Africa without stopping, was beyond the imagination of most. The first clues about the swift's true journey came in the age of exploration, when sailors noticed swifts over the open seas, far from any land. How could such small birds survive out there, without food or rest? Slowly, the pieces began to fit together. By the 19th century, naturalists like Gilbert White began to suspect that swifts migrated long distances. Yet proof was lacking. It was not until the modern age that technology provided answers. Tiny metal rings, known as bird bands, allowed researchers to track where swifts were found when recaptured. Later, the invention of geolocators and GPS tags revolutionized our understanding. Suddenly, the invisible journeys of swifts could be traced across continents, and what those devices revealed was astonishing. Swifts did not merely migrate, they lived in the sky. They ate, slept, and even mated while airborne. Their feet, so small and weak, were rarely used at all. This was not just migration. It was an entire aerial lifestyle. The fascination with swifts continues today. In cities across Europe, bird watchers gather in late summer evenings to watch swifts screaming through the skies in groups, chasing insects and each other in acrobatic displays. These moments feel both ordinary and magical, as if the boundaries between earth and sky blur in the swift's presence. The question that has puzzled scientists for decades is simple: how can a bird remain in the air for 10 months without collapsing from exhaustion? The answer lies in the extraordinary set of adaptations that the common swift has evolved over millions of years, feeding on the wing. Unlike many birds that must perch to peck at seeds or fruits, swifts survive entirely on insects. They catch their prey mid-flight, snatching mosquitoes, flies, beetles, and tiny airborne spiders from the air. These swirling clouds of prey, known as aerial plankton, are invisible to us but a feast for the swift. With a wide, gaping mouth, Almost like a scoop, the swift can swallow dozens of insects in a single swoop. Over the course of a day, a single bird may consume tens of thousands of insects, providing all the energy it needs to remain airborne. Even when feeding chicks in a nest, adult swifts gather insects mid-flight, compacting them into sticky food balls before returning to feed their young sleeping while flying. Perhaps the most unbelievable of all is the swift's ability to sleep on the wing. Scientists believe swifts use a method called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, where one half of the brain rests while the other remains awake to control flight. This remarkable adaptation allows the swift to rest without ever needing to land. Studies show that swifts adjust their altitude during the night, climbing high into the cooler, stable layers of the atmosphere where fewer predators exist. Here, they glide slowly, catching brief moments of rest before dawn brings another day of endless hunting. Aerodynamic perfection. Every part of the swift's body is designed for endurance. Its wings are long and narrow, perfect for fast gliding. Its body is slim, reducing air resistance. Its feathers are strong and flexible, enabling the bird to maneuver with surgical precision. Even its tiny legs are an adaptation, light enough to save energy in flight, though almost useless on the ground. Efficiency of energy. Swifts take advantage of rising air currents, riding thermals during the day to save energy. At night, they descend to lower altitudes where the air is denser, reducing the effort needed to stay aloft. By alternating between gliding and flapping, they conserve strength while still covering great distances. This efficiency is so great that over a lifetime, a single swift may fly more than 4 million kilometers, the equivalent of traveling to the moon and back 5 times. For a creature weighing less than an ounce, this is nothing short of miraculous. The question of rest, and yet, mysteries remain. Do swifts truly sleep enough to recover? Do they dream while gliding silently under the stars? The answers are uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the swift has mastered a balance of energy, rest, and survival that allows it to occupy a place no other bird has achieved: life in the air, almost without end. While swifts may spend most of their lives in the open sky, there is one time when they must return to Earth: the breeding season. It is during these brief months that swifts reveal another side of their remarkable existence: the return home. Each spring, as the days grow longer in Europe and Asia, swifts begin their long journey back from Africa. Their return is eagerly awaited. For many cultures, the arrival of swifts is a sign that summer has truly begun. Villagers listen for their high-pitched screams echoing through the streets, a sound that has marked the changing seasons for centuries. Swifts are creatures of loyalty. They often return to the exact same nesting sites year after year: cracks in old buildings, holes in cliffs, or the eaves of houses. Some sites have been used by generations of swifts for decades, and nesting and family life. Despite their mastery of the air, swifts are clumsy on the ground. This is why they prefer vertical walls and high ledges for nesting, where they can easily launch themselves back into flight. Their nests are small, fragile cups made from feathers, grass, and other lightweight materials, all collected while flying and glued together with the bird's own saliva. The female usually lays 2 to 3 eggs, small and white. Both parents share the duty of incubation, taking turns to keep the eggs warm. After about 19 to 21 days, the chicks hatch, naked and blind. For the next 6 to 8 weeks, the chicks are fed exclusively on insect balls gathered by their parents. These food parcels can contain up to 1,000 insects, all caught in flight and delivered to the nest. Fledging into the sky. When the young swifts are ready to leave the nest, they face one of the most extraordinary rites of passage in the animal kingdom. A young swift may spend a short time clinging to the edge of its nest, testing its wings. But when it finally launches into the air, it begins a journey that may not bring it back to solid ground for years. Some juveniles may remain airborne for their first 2 to 3 years of life, only returning to breed once they are fully mature. Imagine a bird that hatches from an egg, leaves the nest, and then spends the first 1,000 days of its life without once touching the earth. Longevity and resilience. Despite their small size, swifts are surprisingly long-lived. Many individuals survive 15 to 20 years, and some banded swifts have been recorded at over 25 years of age. Given their nearly constant flight, this means a single swift may travel more than 4 million kilometers in its lifetime. A cycle repeated for millennia. This cycle, migration, nesting, breeding, fledging, migration again, has been repeated for countless generations. Long before human history was written, swifts were already crossing continents, following the rains and the insects, stitching together the skies of Europe, Asia, and Africa into one continuous home. Throughout history, humans have looked to the skies and drawn inspiration from the swift. This small bird, often unnoticed at first glance, has woven itself into myth, folklore, and symbolism across cultures. Its mysterious habits, disappearing in winter, screaming across summer skies, and living in the air, made it a creature of wonder. Ancient beliefs. In ancient Europe, people did not know where swifts went when they vanished at the end of summer. Some believed they sank beneath lakes or hibernated underground, emerging only when the sun grew strong again. Their sudden reappearance in spring was viewed almost as a miracle, a sign of renewal and rebirth. The bird's refusal to land gave rise to mystical associations. To many, the swift was not a creature of earth at all, but a spirit of the heavens. Its black plumage and crescent-shaped wings gave it an otherworldly aura. In some legends, swifts were said to carry the souls of the departed across the sky, symbol of freedom. Because swifts spend nearly their entire lives in the sky, they became symbols of freedom and endurance. In literature and poetry, the swift often represents the desire to rise above earthly struggles, to live unchained and limitless. The bird's endless flight mirrors the human longing for liberation, a life without boundaries. Cultural significance. In Europe and Asia. In many European towns, swifts have lived alongside humans for centuries. They nest in church towers, castles, and old houses, becoming part of the rhythm of city life. The sight of their flock circling above the rooftops has been celebrated in art and song. In Italy and Spain, festivals mark their return each spring. In Asia, swifts also hold significance, though sometimes in different forms. Their tireless energy is admired, and their sudden movements are thought to bring good luck. Farmers in some regions once believed that swifts controlled insect populations, making them guardians of crops. Modern symbolism. Today, the swift continues to inspire. For conservationists, it represents resilience in the face of environmental change. For writers and poets, it remains a metaphor for journeys, for longing, for the fragile yet powerful balance between endurance and fragility. Even in the world of science, swifts are a reminder of how much remains unknown. Despite centuries of observation, we still do not fully understand how they manage their sleep, how they navigate across continents, or how their bodies withstand such constant motion. A bird between worlds. In the end, the common swift occupies a unique place in the human imagination. It is a bird that defies categories, not fully of the earth, not fully of the heavens, but something in between. For as long as people have watched the sky, they have marveled at its ghostly presence, vanishing with the seasons, reappearing as if out of nowhere, and always, always in motion. The story of the common swift is not only a tale of biology and migration. It is a story of resilience, of pushing the boundaries of what seems possible, of life lived at the very edge of endurance. In many ways, this little bird offers lessons that extend far beyond the natural world. A creature of paradox. The swift is small, fragile, and lightweight, yet it undertakes journeys that seem superhuman. It never rests on the ground, yet survives for decades. It eats while flying, sleeps while flying, even mates while flying. Where other birds find safety in perches and nests, the swift finds its strength in endless motion. From this paradox, we learn that limitations are often illusions. Nature finds a way to defy them. Endurance and freedom. The swift's life in the sky reflects the human dream of freedom. To soar without boundaries, to live without walls, to move where the heart desires, these are longings deeply rooted in our spirit. Yet for the swift, this is no dream. It is reality. For 10 months of the year, it claims the heavens as its home, covering oceans and continents as if they were but stepping stones. Its endurance also offers a lesson in perseverance. The swift never stops, never falters, even when facing storms, deserts, and vast seas. It adapts, adjusts, and keeps moving. In its wings we see a reflection of what it means to persist despite obstacles, the mystery of sleep and survival. Even with all our science, we still do not fully understand the swift. How much rest does it need? How does its tiny heart withstand decades of flight? These questions remain unsolved, a reminder that nature is always greater than our knowledge. The swift humbles us, showing that the universe holds secrets far beyond our reach. A shared planet. Swifts also remind us of connection. In their annual migrations, they stitch together continents, linking Europe to Africa, the temperate to the tropical, the human-made city to the untouched wilderness. They are travelers, bridging worlds, uniting ecosystems. In their journey, we see the interconnectedness of life on Earth. A final reflection. Perhaps the greatest lesson of the swift is this: life is not only about where you stand, but how you move. For the swift, the ground is not home. The sky is. And in that endless flight lies a truth we can all learn from, that sometimes the path itself is the destination. So when you look up on a summer evening and hear the high-pitched screams of swifts racing across the sky, remember, above you, in that fleeting shadow, is a traveler that may not touch the earth for months, perhaps years. A creature whose entire existence is a testament to endurance, freedom, and the unending wonder of the natural world. The common swift is more than a bird. It is a story in motion, a reminder that the world is larger, deeper, and more mysterious than we can ever imagine.